Rejection is not personal.
No, it's not.
There's so many other variables and factors.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. There's always gonna be a place of home at the end of the day that you can go back to and feel safe. But,
Yeah.
like, is life about being safe, or is life about taking risks so you can achieve your dreams and go for what you want and really feel like you are making a difference? And you know what? It could be a financial mess. It could be like you
Yeah.
go there and you're like, I actually hate this, but at least you know at the end of the day because you've done it.
Most people in their 20s aren't lost.
They're just early.
That's right. Welcome to After the Bell. Conversations for young professionals figuring out what comes next without pretending to have it all figured out. I'm Nick Kaufman Mamisashvili. Welcome to my office. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I am such a huge fan of you. You already know that. I want you to kind of just give us an idea of who you are for people who don't know you and maybe where you're at in life right now.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. First off, I have to say, just like seeing you, I'm like brought back to high school and all of the incredible times since then. It makes me really, really happy to still get to be in touch with you and how you mentored, me and so many people throughout our lives. So thank you for making this a thing, first off. And yeah, it's been a long time, but I feel like I just kind of continue to trust my path that I'm supposed to be walking on right now. When I first met you, singing in the Res Life church band, and now I am performing regularly, professionally, in all different art forms, including, like musical theater, straight plays, and opera. So I'm trying to be as versatile as possible, and also getting to work as an adjunct professor for voice performance, which I didn't think I'd get to say at my age right now, but I'm back where I went to my undergrad, the University of Tampa, and I'm teaching there and I'm performing around the area. I just did a 3.5-month contract with American Stage here in St. Pete, Florida. It was like a traveling musical tour. So it was like a 9 to 5 job. You get up, get to the van, 5 a.m., like set up for singing a.m. and then you're double booked till like 4:30, and then I would go and teach at UT from like 6:30 to 8 p.m. and start the day over again. So I feel like I've just been like chugging on a choo-choo train, but a good one.
Well, you're a boss, and that sounds like your mentality that you had in high school has like not faded at all. So that's
I
amazing. I remember you being just so versatile, and it's not just your versatility; it's like your ability to command the moment. I know a lot of people who are professional musicians, performers. They say they can command the spotlight, and I that just is like a saying until you meet somebody like Faith who gets up there and she's like looking at the band like, "Hey, you try this," and I'm just like, "What am I even doing up here? This woman, you
Not
gotta
true.
go." You are so
You're
good,
so
and I
sweet.
was so grateful for everyone who doesn't know. You were my first senior at Resurrection in Kansas City. I started this tradition with you, which was signing an album, and every senior
Yes,
class signed an album. I still have it. I play it on my record
so
player.
funny.
You
The
s-
Coldplay one.
we- yeah, you signed it right between the Angel Wings of the Coldplay album.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that makes
Oh,
my heart so happy. Well, that might have inspired me because I love going thrifting and getting record
oh,
players and things like, you know what I mean?
okay, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Did I create the whole green room set when you were there? Or was that
yes.
after? Okay.
Yes, I remember it was, like, up and coming when
Yes.
I was there, like, you were like, "We're gonna make this all vibey," and I was like, "This is so cool." Your vibe that you have right now is, like, what the green room vibe was, you know what I mean?
What's so crazy about this too is, like, we lost our green room to the wedding ministry, and
Right?
then yeah, and so I ended up having to, like, close off the back half of the stage with black curtains and then just, like, build out this thing with 2 by 4s and chicken wire, and it had an album wall with, like, you could plug paper prayers into the chicken wire, and we had a record player and, like, a guitar rack on one side of the wall. It was so fun.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's so
Yeah.
unique. I love that.
It was so fun. And when they tore it down, to actually get the whole stage back, and then they transitioned
Right.
it back to the sharing of the wedding room with as the green room.
Yeah.
And, you don't know this, but, 2 years after you left, I built a recording studio in a room that was being used as storage, where we recorded, like, all our vacation Bible camp music that I wrote, and you being present and being the first person through the door with so much talent and just helping mentor everybody else behind you set off this wake of inspiration in me that caused this ripple that it ended up impacting thousands of children every summer. That all stems from, like, you being good at your craft, being a quality individual, and wanting to mentor the people who are coming from behind you. And so I'm just like have to give you all your flowers because it really did start with you. So
Well, thank you. I could give them all back to you because it's a two-way street, you know what I mean? I feel
yeah.
like now that I've also been teaching with performance, it's been so eye-opening
Mm,
because you realize you do something and then you
mm,
see the students do it, and I get chills every time, even just, like, seeing them have that same awakening moment that I would have, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
that's how you keep the arts alive. That's how you, like, keep creativity alive. Seeing that people, even just, like, 4 years younger than me are passionate about what this art form could be and, like, making it their own, it's so humbling, but it's also so, like, exciting. Because then I'm like, "Okay, the art form's not dying. We're going." You know what I mean?
You talked a little bit about your career and where you're at with like adjunct professor. What are your big hopes and dreams for what you're building right now? I'm just really interested in like what you're creating and where your life is on the trajectory of right now.
I've really just tried to trust any door that opens, and that's gotten me to where I am now. Like, it is crazy to say that I'm doing professor work. Like, that was my dream when I was an undergrad to be able to perform. And I moved back to Kansas for a year and was just auditioning, and figuring my life out. And I got hired at a dentist office. Not many people know that. I was working 3 to 4 part-time jobs last year while I was auditioning and doing everything, singing at the church. And then I was doing, shows in Kansas, and I ended up, like, auditioning for some stuff in Chicago. I got to do, like, my first big opera role in Chicago this past summer, which was really awesome because I worked hard and I, like, put myself out there, and I try not to hold myself back.
When you're a person who emanates joy and belief like you do, like people want to gather into your orbit, and I totally support what you're saying here. But just so people know, like you did work really hard and you do have incredible talent. Can you think of like a time where you just thought, man, maybe my momentum has slowed, or maybe like my growth is stunted? Like, is it ever going to pick up again? Have you had that moment?
Yes, that's the crazy part. Like, I was continuing my momentum, but at the same time, I felt like I was stuck. I just finished, like, doing a fun show. It was like Beauty and the Beast, and I got to meet people. It was so nice. And then once that ended, and once I did, like, this other opera thing, I was kind of in a flat line. I went and tried to do these big auditions in March, and I, like, got some callbacks, but I didn't feel like there were things I really wanted to do, and I didn't get,
Mm,
like, the callbacks for the things I really wanted to do. And I felt like I was not seen in the way I wanted to be seen, and I didn't allow myself to fully put myself in that way to be seen either. I kinda, like, held myself back, and I was truthfully really depressed. because I was like, "What am I supposed to be doing right now?" You know, like, I was like, I keep going for things, but I'm not the right fit. Am I doing things wrong? All these things, like, negatively tearing me down, you know what I mean? But then I got a text out of the blue one day when I was really just not feeling good. I was like, if I continue to stay here, I don't think I'm gonna be happy. I don't think I'm gonna be using my skills to what I know they can be. And I got a text from my voice professor at UT. Literally, like that week that I was not feeling good. And she was like, "Can you call this week?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely. You know, we always have our check ins and things like that." And then she called me and was like, "Look, we have this position opening. If you want to apply, then please do these certain things and we will look it over and let you know." And in my head, I was like, I have a way out.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were
Yeah.
like, I don't understand the landscape of where I'm at right now." And I said,
Mhm.
"Well, you named these things, like, sounds like these are your strengths. So, like, keep putting yourself out there, but don't get stuck in just thinking about doing something and thinking about doing something or trying to perfect something over and over. There's no perfect, there's
Mhm.
amazing. And then there's
Yeah.
like incredibly amazing,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
no perfect. And if you
No.
just and this is the old adage, like, if you just keep thinking about trying, you'll never actually try. I think we're all just natural procrastinators, and it's
Yes.
the fear, especially in performance. People are like, "But if I put myself out there and I get rejected, then I'm gonna feel dejected, and
Yes.
I don't wanna try again. I don't wanna wind back up." I would say my encouragement to a young professional would be, get 100 no's before
Mhm.
you expect to get a yes.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
you're just gonna keep putting yourself out there, like, "I gotta get to 100, like, let's just get it out there," you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. I feel that wholeheartedly. It can get disheartening where you're kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, I've put myself out there. They don't really like what they're seeing right now. Like, how can I make myself better? You know, but it's not really like making yourself better. I feel like it's really become a right timing thing. Like, I'm putting my pressure on things that I can't control. And
Yeah.
then the timing is like getting off, you know, because it's like you are putting it there for yourself. But it's
Rejection is not personal.
no, it's not.
There's so many other variables and factors and
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. You don't think about
yeah.
it when you're like social aspects of performance, but it can get like really internal where you don't know what's next, you know?
Yeah, and you
So,
start to attach yourself to, what you can produce. Sometimes I think it's what we think society thinks we should be. Sometimes I
yes.
think it's there was this amazing trajectory that I started with, and
Yeah.
now I have this one vision about how I should raise myself. And then to
Mhm.
your point, like, when it doesn't work out and you have to pivot, you
Yeah.
go, now who am I?
It's like you think of a video game, like we have Mario and Luigi, which one are you? You know?
Do you get a sense from your experience as a young professional, but also maybe being
Yeah.
around other young professionals, that people shoot for Mario and Luigi and they're not going for Yoshi or any of the others? Or are people like now in a new age where they're excited to be Yoshi or Toad or Peach?
That's a good thought process. It's so true. I can think of like many different circumstances, especially teaching like
Yeah.
to college age students right now and hearing what their perspective is. Like one girl, very tall like me, for instance, I'm like 5'10, 5'11. So there's like a select few things that I could do on stage that are like realistic. Like I couldn't play the young girl very easily if I'm up next to a guy that is like 5'7" and the father. She has a very realistic thought process where she was like, well, I don't think that I should sing these songs because I'm not going to be seen that way. And I do think that I should be singing this because I know that I can do this well. And I was like, you're so right. And honestly, I wish I had that clarity when I was younger, you know, to know my place in the theater world. But at the same time, casting directors nowadays are getting a little bit more open-minded. There
Sure.
are going to be sticklers, but like you shouldn't cut yourself off from singing Cinderella if you feel like you would do justice to that, because there might be a director out there that hears your voice, sees you, and says, "No, you're Cinderella." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Versus like putting yourself in a box, but then at the same situation, like you
yeah.
have to think to yourself what's realistic versus idealistic.
I think that happened with, like, the Little Mermaid live action movie.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
people were up in
Exactly.
arms about it, it's like, "That's not
I
my Little
know.
Mermaid," you know?
Like she's
And
a
I just thought it
fish.
was the coolest thing, like, give people opportunity.
I remember at this specific set of auditions, they had like cattle calls, which were just huge. Like everyone signed up for 2 days slots, and the entire voice faculty was in this huge theater, and the students could sit in. It was just a huge thing. And so I was talking to some people, and they were like, "Oh, who are you auditioning for?" And it was Sweeney Todd at the time. And I love that
Mm,
show. It's musical theater meets opera because it's like harder music style. And so in my head, I was like, they're not gonna see me as Joanna. She's like a young little girl and like
sure.
16 youthful vibe, and that's just not what I give on stage. And so I was like, who would I play? I don't think Miss Lovett. I think the beggar woman.
I
But I
love
remember talking to some students about it, and they were like, who are you auditioning for? And I was like, the beggar woman. And they were like, what? Because it's just not what you would think to like go in and be like, yes, this is my role. You know what I mean? Versus like all the princess ones you could play. It was like, I know that I can act it. I know that I can sing it. And like, I know that I'll be confident doing it. Versus if
yeah.
I was singing something else, I would probably not give my full self. And there were like a couple of other people that did it. And I ended up being cast, and I was like, "This can't be real." Like, I actually put my mind to it and, like, thought that I could do it, and it wasn't Mario or Luigi. It was definitely, like, Bowser or, like, Bowser Jr.
This is so good.
Yes, but I was like, "This is something I know I could do, and I know I could do well, and I gotta give my full heart to it. Even if others might laugh, it's something I know that it suits me, and sometimes that's not gonna be the frilly princess stuff, and that's okay. I can like that stuff in my own life, and that's my separation."
Yeah. First of all,
Oh,
that's so good. You mentioned not being able to see yourself in one of those other roles. Is
yeah,
Miss Lovett? Is that what you said was one of she's
yes,
like the
I love it.
mincemeat
Mhm,
maker, mince pie
mhm,
maker. Yeah,
mhm,
so
yep,
you kinda you took yourself out of that role because I think you could have done that role
yeah.
really well, I'm
I know
thinking.
it. Yeah, well, thank you. I felt like it was a role that I could grow in my acting like none other, because she's like she goes crazy, and no one knows what she's talking about for most of it, but it's funny because she ends up being, like, the most sane one in the entire story, talking about how the city's
Yeah.
burning because these people are doing this bad thing, but no one listens to her because she's crazy, and so I feel like I was like, "The acting in this is so different." I like the challenge. I like to let put myself in a position where I feel like I'm growing, and that was the role that I felt I would grow the most, but then also I feel like this is the one role maybe that they don't know, and I can give them the answer and, like, feel confident about
Did you
that.
grow the most in that, do you think?
I would say so. That role, I feel like it pushed up my confidence again. I have worked for this, and I know that I can continue to do well in it if I put my heart into it. It really taught me if I show up for myself and tell myself that, it and it's hard too because I know I'm not going to be some of those roles that like I would love to be. But I you have to come to terms with yourself sadly too when it comes to realism of the world.
Does that eat you up inside being the age you are? Because you're young,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
is how did you arrive at that conclusion? Because I feel like that's such a mature conclusion to arrive at so early.
Thank you. I know. I think honestly, yes, it does eat me up inside, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, what else am I supposed to do about it? And honestly, like I've had these conversations so many times where I have had to like talk myself off the ledge to my mom, being like, okay, I know I'm not like, you kind of have to say it like a mantra to yourself. So you really
Yeah.
believe it, you know? Going a little more vulnerable here. In master's, I started therapy. And
Yeah,
that's not
definitely.
something I was very vocal about, but I'm so glad I did because I didn't realize how mean I was being to myself. You know, even though I was doing all these things, I was so happy about it, and I was doing all these like things to help me grow, like I would be so negative in ways that now I see my students talking so negatively about them. And I'm like, hold up, don't do that.
Yeah,
But it's hard because you literally, it's like, when someone's addicted to something, you can't
yeah,
tell them to stop and they'll stop.
yeah.
You have to make that decision yourself. And I feel like that's the constant battle that I've had with myself. I like take a breath and I literally have to remind myself, like, you wanted to do this. You know what I mean? Like, you literally are getting to live out a dream that you didn't think you get to live out right now. And so I have to like remind myself when things get tough or when I'm feeling like I really wish this would have worked out this way. Like, I have to stop. And because that's like when you're by yourself. If you are mean to yourself when you're by yourself, then that's all that's going to be circulating through you. You're like giving
Yeah.
yourself negative energy. You're not powering yourself up to do what you're meant to do, which is so much bigger, than what you could imagine.
Dreams require patience, they require stillness, they
And
require redreaming phases. There's multiple seasons of a trajectory of a dream, and sometimes I think there's a power beyond that is really leading you in a direction toward love of self and love of others. I'll be vulnerable for a second too. My wife and I were really struggling before we moved here, so we decided to get into couples therapy.
yeah.
And honestly, it kept us going. It kept us together. I mean, just it was so hard after the baby was born, trying to navigate what it's like to have a newborn and not have a career after 15 years, and for her to get a career. Then we know we're gonna move, and the holidays are coming. We can't enjoy them because we have to move out of our house and sell everything. And I encourage anyone who might be listening, don't put therapy on the back burner, or if you haven't tried therapy yet, I encourage you to try it. It's so funny I'm saying this because I was on a podcast as a guest recently, and I was talking to a family therapist who was one of the hosts, and I was like, honestly, I was hoping I could go my whole life without getting into therapy because I thought it was a failure. I'm not
Oh,
saying it's a cure all, but I think just having someone in your corner that's like a mentor who's just going to show up for you and applaud you
mhm,
and encourage you and,
mhm.
test your theories and give you more fodder for self love. I think
Yes.
mentorship is like one of the most underrated strengths in
Oh,
our
yeah.
society right now. And we just need more of it and just need more people coming alongside younger folks to just remind them, like, keep building. This is your life. Take control of your life, but
Yes.
enjoy it to the fullest because you're not promised tomorrow.
Thank you for being vulnerable too, because I know how hard
Yeah,
that is to talk about that and actually like say it out loud. I think that's so wonderful that you had such a good experience doing that because, and I even think about like with friends, like here in Tampa, I feel so blessed because I have so many amazing friends from college that I've stayed in touch with. And like, that has been such a big foundational shift for me because when you are down on yourself, you don't really trust others as much because you don't know
yeah,
if they're going to get you. But if you just keep trying to put your heart on your sleeve, that's like the best thing you can do.
for sure. I think vulnerability is a strength here, and
Yes.
it's hard to
I
be vulnerable,
agree.
but we're
Yeah. Yeah.
advocating for it, so maybe people
Yes.
can get
I
into
love it.
that. Um, Okay, take me through your process of, let's take this Sweeney Todd edition.
Yes. The beggar woman.
Okay, Beggar
Yes.
Woman number one, and she's the
Yes.
only one.
The only one. Lucy is her real name, but
What did you have to do to prepare? And not only what did you have to do to get the songs memorized and to get the movements right and the staging, but also like mentally, what did you do? And then maybe something fun, like what's something that you do that either you learn to do from someone else or you just like found yourself just doing it to prepare yourself.
yeah, no, I love that. I feel like it's really crazy because I remember going to a practice room and being like, okay, I need to learn these 3 cuts. These are for the audition. And it was like chromatic things and like random timing of notes and things like that, rhythms, and I just like got it. And I was like, well, that was easier than I expected. And then I practiced it like with my collaborator, my pianist. I knew this was my last shot at this
Um,
school to like show myself in a prideful way and show like that I knew I was capable. So I picked out an outfit. I remember going to Ross and like picking out a dress that specifically had like asymmetrical ruffles, so it looked more beggar woman. I definitely like showed up for everything. I never go to auditions like super early because I know
yeah.
for myself that I am gonna overthink or like not be as warm as I want to be. So I got there like 30 minutes before I knew I had to be there, and everybody was backstage like going over their music, like thinking in their heads. And you have all different kinds of people that are at these things that have different processes. And for me, I can't talk to people because it gets me distracted. I will like get out of my audition mode and into, "Hi, how are you doing?" You know what I mean? So I had to like center myself before going on stage. I've always like breathed like 3 times, and I
Um,
will just like kiss the sky. Like I'll go like you. Like that's what I've always done. Yeah, so it kind of like centers me. Yeah, then I remember just feeling extremely confident walking onto the stage. And I remember we were taught smile directly into the audience and walk with confidence. So I was putting on my best like smile that I could for them. And I remember getting into the spot, and I went completely from this tall, confident person to this mangled character.
oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just remember being like, "What? That felt great." I said, "Thank you." And I exited the stage, but it literally just felt like I was rehearsing. You know what I mean?
Did you walk off with like a hunch?
I should have. No, that's the crazy thing. I literally went, "Thank you." Well, like if any of my friends like you would have seen me, you probably would have been like, "Oh my gosh."
Like, give her the part. Give her the part.
Exactly. Please, please.
Wow, she's amazing.
No, exactly.
Part.
Exactly. Get it. Like, did you see that acting? She went crazy.
She dressed though. It had so much
No, literally.
intentionality.
Did you know she went to Ross for that? Oh my gosh. That's so funny. No,
Believable. Believable.
literally.
I would be such a good hype person.
You would be. You already are.
Then, did you just walk away from the building in silence? You don't talk to anybody, or what?
Pretty much. Like, I will be like, "Good luck," like, break a leg to all the auditioners. Like,
Again, I'm your hype man here. It's not just like you're so talented, but like the way you carry yourself both on stage and off stage. Like I said, like people want to be in your orbit. People want you to win. People want to see you succeed. People want to show up to support you. And like what's so cool about you is you're giving back to others too. Like whatever downtime you have, everything you're doing is about service to others. Whether it's service to like people feeling something on stage, or if it's service to I want to make you smile today, or I want to show up even though I don't feel like it today because you might need me, or you're depending on me. I can't say enough good things about you. I'm so proud of you, and I had to throw that in there.
thank you, Nick. That really means like you have no idea. That means so much. Thank you. I can say the same to you. You know it. I feel like, we talk about mentors and like how it shapes you. And I feel like you and like my choir teacher in high school, like, and my, voice teacher from college, and, all these different people, like, you guys are so pivotal in my lives to know like this is the right path to go on. And it's like, if I didn't have you when I was younger, or my choir teacher, or like someone to tell me to audition for theater for college instead of meteorology, because at one point I did want to do meteorology, like my life would be so different.
You gotta take a chance on yourself. Sure. You gotta allow people to speak into your life. But you
Yes.
also, to my point about you, is you gotta prepare yourself to be the right person that people want to get behind and push.
Yeah. Yeah, and that
And
takes work. It's okay to do something bigger than yourself or what you think you need to do, because, like, obviously, there's some kind of magnetic pull, like, bringing you towards your path.
so
Mhm.
sure, you had that desire to want something and then to give yourself over to it.
Yeah.
For young professionals who are kind of caught in that liminal space of, do I
Mm.
take the risk and jump in? Feels right. I don't know if I have the finances. I don't know if I have the grit. I don't know if I have the talent. But like, what would you say to a young professional who's kind of in that liminal space of trying to jump into something or discern whether this option is right or this option is right?
That's really a good thing to think about because I do think about those moments where I also had like an opportunity to do something and I remember my heart dropping because I was like, this is a really great opportunity, but I don't think it's right for me right now. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And also having the complete opposite of this is a really great opportunity. Oh my gosh, this is going to change my life. Am I ready to take those steps? Which was moving to Florida for me. And I feel like in that moment, I had to kind of tell myself, you have been so sad not getting to do what you want to do. What is
yeah.
holding myself back from going and taking this risk right now? And I do make pros and con lists for
Okay.
decisions, but I also it's kinda like what you said of, like, following your heart and trusting your intuition. I remind myself too, if I'm feeling rock bottom, what can go wrong if I actually took a step in the right direction and decided to go down a path that I feel I want for myself? There's always gonna be a place of home at the end of the day that you can go back to and feel safe. But
Yeah.
is life about being safe? Or is life about taking risks so you can achieve your dreams and go for what you want and really feel like you are making a difference? And you know what? It could be a financial mess. It could be like you
Yeah.
go there and you're like, I actually hate this, but at least you know.
That's a great mindset. Keep putting yourself
Yeah.
out there. I
Mhm.
think young professionals, young adults have a hard time seeing that if you take a risk, you have a story to tell. And I think having a story to tell is worth its weight in gold.
I agree.
You gotta think like a startup. Like, I put
Yeah.
myself out there, I tried something, I am a startup, I'm investing in me, and the only way to find out who I am and what I want is put myself out there. And at the end of the day, I'll have a really interesting story to tell, and it might be
Yes.
full of failure, but I'm telling you, looking back, you cannot get to where you're going without failing, and you're gonna fail
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
So you might as well just gain some really great stories to tell.
I agree.
Uh,
Wholeheartedly. Yes,
yeah.
that's it. Why did I work all these years only to tell myself, "Never mind, I'm good." Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta keep reminding yourself too why you did it. I remember one teacher that I met with, we were talking about, like, what makes you happy, and for some reason, it made me think about, like, little Faith. Like, see everybody talking about, like, their younger selves and, like, how happy they are to be doing those things, and I was like, "What would little Faith have wanted?" Little Faith
Yeah.
would have wanted to be singing. She would have been wanting to dance her heart out. Even, like, people that I'm teaching right now, they've had people in their lives who've told them they shouldn't sing, like, it's too girly. A guy that doesn't wanna sing because they were told they shouldn't, and meanwhile, I'm like, what's stopping you? Little you would have really wanted to. So I feel like it's like those kinds of things have been put in my life because I have decided to just allow my path to be my path. You know, I still will question myself all the time, but like, at the end of the day, just reminding yourself constantly, remembering what we're doing this for.
That's the other thing too. I feel like for the people out there, young professionals who maybe are kind of on their own, maybe don't have great relationships with their family or, maybe
Yeah.
have broken bridges. It's never
Yeah.
too late to restart. Like there's so many billions of people in the world and there's bigger cities and there's always new opportunities. And I'm finding out about by being in New York City. And I
Bet.
just think you're not actually late. As we said earlier, you're early. You're
Yeah.
you're who you are, where you are, when you are, and,
Yes.
you just need to be you in the season that you're in.
That's so true. It's all timing, but trusting that your timing is coming. You don't have to have everything figured out all the time. You're never going to have everything figured out all the time. But
Yeah.
the more that you just believe in yourself and are kind to yourself and curate goodness around you, the more you're going to get back. And it's hard to do that. It really is. But the more you kind of just settle in it, the more that you'll find your path, I think.
Yeah. Surround yourself with good people and just
Mhm.
keep trucking. That's such a good word. Faith, what is something that represents who you are right now?
Let's see. I would say passionate and driven and joyful. Yeah. Passionate,
I'm
driven, and joyful.
gonna attest you are all those things.
Thank you. You are too.
It's been such a privilege to have this time with you. Thank you so much for taking this time to meet with me, to have a little mentoring conversation. I just
Yeah.
want to encourage everybody else out there. If you're looking for a long-time mentor, you can stop because you found one. You can check me out on my website, afterthebellnyc.com. I'd love to meet with you. Faith, I want to end with this. In New York, when they hand you a coffee, they say cheers. What I want to do is end with a cheers with you. I know you've got some tea there. Faith, lovely to be with you. Cheers.
Cheers. Lovely to be with you too.
All right, we'll be seeing you. Join me next time for After the Bell.